What's up, guys? Again, dude, I just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and the people commenting. I'm blown away. Like again, I don't promote these videos. I don't share them anywhere. I don't go out of my way to do anything with them except just make them. I don't edit them. I do this organic as possible. I don't. So I'm blown away. Like for real, sincerely, thank you guys. Uh, Thank you. That's all I know what to say. In this video, I'm going to give my final conclusion on science, but I'm also going to differentiate science and real science because there's a difference in what a lot of people call science and what true science actually is. And I don't ever want anyone to watch these videos and come to the conclusion this guy thinks he knows everything. This is my opinion, but if you think this through and you yourself do this, you can do it too. That's the good thing about science. I present something I come to, I tell it to other people, they verify it or disprove it. One of the two, it does not matter. So let's get into the difference in science and the watered down version of science. Now, you may hear me say, in fact, I have said atheists believe the same thing. Well, that's not technically true. However, the vast majority of atheists believe in the scientific creation model that has been presented to you throughout your entire lifetime. And for those of you that do not know, I myself, brief little rundown, I don't want this to go all over the place. I was born into a Christian household. It traumatized me to death. I turned to an atheist. Then I turned to agnostic. Then I turned spiritual. Then I turned back into I guess you could consider a Christian, and now I am a listen dog. I'm not any of this stuff. These are labels and this is a box you're trying to put me in. I'm a believer in God. I believe Christ will guide you. I believe Buddha will teach you. I believe that you can find some truths in a lot of this, but the majority of it's a complete and utter sham. So I would not recommend anyone to be religious or spiritual. But there's some, so let's get into it. You have real science and you have science. Now, a lot of people think they're scientifically minded. However, they don't know what they're talking about. I can give you multiple examples with this. Now, a lot of atheists and a lot of people that you talk to, if you really talk to them and try to get to understand their perspective and not debate them or argue with them, just have a dialogue, you will quickly understand they cite other scientists, other physicists, other things. They have not done the research themselves. They've not come to the proper conclusions, and they've not verified it. They've not done the real science themselves. And then once you start bringing up, this is the beautiful thing that I do, and it's just the truth. It's what I do because it's the best way to do it. I use what they believe against them, meaning, and I don't mean against them, just against their perspective to try to open it and broaden it. Example with Christianity. People that want to judge others, condemn others, and say things are sins and whatever, and chastise those that live in sin or whatever. I bring up Jesus said, "Don't judge. You have no right to judge." Love thy enemy. Love. Jesus was all about love. Then they get perplexed. Then they start hopefully thinking things through for themselves, or they shut down or double down. Now, if once they start doing that, it's time to walk away. So with atheists and scientifically minded people, it is very easy to do this because a lot of them will use Albert Einstein. which is a great example. Hey, shout out Albert Einstein. They'll use Albert Einstein, not realizing Albert Einstein believed in God. They will use these other Nobel Prize winning physicists and scientists. And then you bring it to their attention, they believe in God, right? They believe in a creation. Blows them away. Then they do a little bit of research and they're like, so to me, the best way to open people's minds is to use what they believe. I hate using the word against them. I don't like using the word against them, but it's almost like you use it to broaden their perspective. So now, the watered down version of science most people believe and go along with is this Big Bang Theory. It's evolution. It is that the universe is 13.8 billion years old. It is that something came from nothing, but it randomly just happens. So when I make the claim that most atheists and Christians or people that support a creation model of reality believe the same thing, I get scoffed at. And then once I break it down and explain it to people, then you see an aha moment. Okay, so atheists believe, or scientifically minded people believe, the watered down version of science anyway, believes that this was nothing. A big bang happened and threw a pin, like something as small as a pin, like the head of a pin. This all expanded and came from something. They believe that we are all connected, that we're all space dust. They believe that that life pretty much essentially evolved through billions of years of atoms, etc. And then originally there was a single-celled organism that multiplied itself. What does that sound like to you guys? That sounds like the creation story. In the beginning, God created. There was a void. God created through the void. So, how people cannot correlate this, I do not get. So, supposedly there was one God. That one God created. So, it's the same thing as there was a void, God created. There was a void, a big bang happened. There was nothingness. Then came something. It's the same thing. Eventually, all this stuff happened, and then you had a single-celled organism that separated itself, and then eventually... I don't need to go into the details of it. If you would like me to, I can. But you get where I'm coming from with this. It's the same concept, different ideas, slightly. The only thing that separates them is a different story and your intellect and overinflation of an ego grasping onto something to want it to be right. Now, what if I told you that why would you want that? Why would you not want there to be a God? A lot of people's arguments against God comes from the Bible and the way they were brought up and seeing other Christians act, or Muslims, or etc. Because the law, God, they all mean the same thing. If you're talking about a one God religion, they essentially all mean the same thing. Even religions that talk about multiple gods all essentially have one God connected. Now, there's like 4,500, almost 5,000 religions. I cannot break those all down to you. I'm sure there is some that vary and separate and don't go by that pattern and blueprint, but essentially they all do. So, that is a watered down version of science. That is things that those are theories. Any true scientist will tell you, hey, that's why there's a theory after the Big Bang Theory. That's why there is a theory of evolution. Now, you can make evolution sound good and say, well, there's only a 1 point something or point something difference between us and chimpanzees. What they do not tell you, though, is on the genome scale, once you break it down, that small percentage is extensively and expansively huge in differentials. So there is not really that much support of evolution. There's missing links. There will always be a missing link. The majority of the science you believe to be true is, again, a theory. Like, do the research yourself. No one truly knows how old this universe is. There's ways that they can, again, yes, there's ways that they can calculate it. And it all sounds good and it all sounds believable. But think for yourself, do some more research, and understand that it's all a human construct, and humans are flawed. For an example, carbon dating. They think they can date how long the earth has been here. They can date the pyramids. They can date this and that, even though they have changed this drastically and dramatically over the years. Depending on who you listen to, carbon dating can be close within X amount of years, or it can vary by hundreds, if not thousands of years. You also have to realize scientists are fallible. They want to be correct. They themselves have egos. And again, I'm not knocking the ego. But unless you got your ego to the point to where you're open-minded and you don't care about being right, you just want to get to the truth, you're fallible. Flawed. So let's get into that covers the watered down version of science. Now let's get into real science and why I am a big fan of real science. Real science is me telling you, hey, my life drastically changed once I realized and accepted God. Once I started paying attention and noticing God was all around me, communicating with me, talking to me, guiding me. Once I started truly believing in Him and I don't want to say Him, I don't think it has a gender. Putting all my faith and trust, my life got substantially better. Yes, my life fell apart to a degree, but it's like, let me put it to you like this, and this is another beautiful thing with science and nature. Do you guys know the story of the eagle? The eagle is my favorite animal. Eagles have about 70 plus years in them. Once they get 40 years old, or close to 40, their beaks start getting dull, their wings deteriorate, their talons are not as sharp as they used to be. So eagles have a couple different choices here. Eagles can either, one, just keep on doing what they're doing, staying the same. They eventually get weak, and they eventually get picked off. Two, they can seclude themselves from the world and hide. Or three, they put themselves in a period of isolation. And during this period of isolation, it is very painful. You can almost call it suffering. So what they do is they go seclude themselves for a period of time. They break their beaks off. Then their beak grows back sharper. Then they take those beaks and they rip out their talons, and their talons grow back. Then they take those talons and pluck out their feathers, and then their feathers grow back. Then they have 30 plus years of being that same. Well, that you technically it would not be the same. It's the rebirth. It's what I'm explaining to you guys through nature and science. This is you can verify this. So me coming to you and telling you this, and telling you that Christ, once I asked Christ to come into my heart and guide me, and once I started listen, you have to take it serious. It's not going to happen overnight. I still, even though I was following God and asked Christ to do this, I was still what I would like to call sinning. I was not doing unto others. I was not doing right by myself. I was putting toxic things into my body. I was putting substances into my body. I was still filling my mind with BS. I still didn't have a mind of my own at this point, so I was blindly believing certain things. This spiritual person, this teacher, this whatever. I also had created many theories and ideas in my mind that I went with. That was incredibly dangerous. And that's again why I'll come here and apologize to you guys. This is the thing about me, my friends. I have came on these videos multiple times, looked you dead in the eye and said, hey, I was wrong about this. I greatly apologize. It was very dangerous and harmful for me to put that out there. Let's move on in this direction. Again, everything I tell you, verify for yourself. Don't blindly believe me. A lot of the things I tell you would benefit you greatly to start believing and then verify. So this is real science. What I have just went through for 5 years. Again, you can look at it and say, Blake, yeah, you say all this, but you pray for your family to get back together. You still have a couple things you're dealing with in your life, and I will look you straight in your face and say, yeah, you are correct. However, it was an internal thing that needed to happen. I needed to seclude myself like that eagle and burn/break apart myself, examine it, figure out why I was the way I was, and then figure out what made me tick and my purpose and how I wanted to proceed forward. And then I rebuilt myself. That is the resurrection. That is the rebirth. That is me dying and taking anew. That is you're about to witness the full rising of the phoenix, not just within me, but within society as a large, because this is what's going on right now. That is, again, the beautiful thing about science. I can tell you these things. You can then, in turn, do it and verify it. So I'll give you some examples. I would highly suggest you show gratitude each day for things. I would highly suggest each day you let go of the past, little by little, as much as possible. Each day I would tell you to focus on flipping negatives into positives in your mind. Each day I would recommend you praying. At least 3 times a day, pray. And during these prayers, it's not just, oh, I want this, I need this, woe is me. It's, hey, thank you for everything you've done for me and will do for me. Thank you for watching over me and blessing me. Thank you for always being there for me, showing me mercy, grace, and forgiveness. Thank you for opening up my eyes, my mind, and my heart, changing my perspective, and getting me right. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for being there for me each day when I wasn't even showing up for myself. And then, yeah, you can sprinkle some things you want in there and ask for them. And you'll notice a lot of the times they happen. Now, just because it doesn't happen like that don't mean you freak out and, oh, prayer, this is not working and prayer is not real. It is. Sometimes God has what is yours and meant for you already over here, just waiting for you to show up for it. And what I mean by that is He's preparing you to enjoy it and to be the person you need to be to fulfill that. So, I would recommend you guys do some real science here. And if you think what I'm saying is completely and utterly lunacy and insane, then disprove it. But you can't disprove it without, one, having an open mind, two, doing the scientific research and following through with this to either verify it or disprove it. After a certain point, I promise you're going to come back to me, and you may not agree with everything I say, but you're going to come back to me and say, hey, this really worked. Hey, my life has improved greatly. Because listen, my mind used to be a wreck. It used to be a very dark place. I used to overthink things into the ground. I used to look at myself in all sorts of messed up ways. I used to not trust people. I used to beat myself up. I used to have a chip on my shoulder, a huge chip on my shoulder. I used to constantly have severe anxiety. I used to have depression. I used to have PTSD. So the drastic changes in the amounts that my mindset has changed, my eyes have been open, is amazing. And that is the key right there. You want your mindset and your state of mind to be correct and proper. It's hard to get your mindset correct and proper when you're constantly overthinking about negative things, when you're constantly looking in the past, in the rearview mirror, you're constantly freaking out and worried about the future. That's why I say, heal to a degree, integrate things, stay grounded in this present moment, trusting and having faith in the future. Life gets a lot better. No, I'm a big believer in anything is possible. Miracles can happen, and I do mean anything is possible. I'm being very literal. Understand this and look me in my eyes. I am being literal when I say anything is possible. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to counter this, and yes, I've given examples of what I mean and do not mean. Obviously, if you're 4'8" and you're 30 years old, you've never played basketball a day in your life, you're not just going to wake up tomorrow and go be the next Michael Jordan. Okay? But I mean, anything is possible in what you set your mind to, what you want in yourself, what you want for your future. Anything is possible in that scenario and terms. Miracles happen all the time. Let's define a miracle. A miracle could be as small as someone being kind and granting you and giving you a compliment. That compliment starts boosting your self-esteem. A miracle could be you seeing a homeless person on the side of the road and giving them a $10 bill. That could be a miracle. Miracles could be as big as you finding your purpose and getting your dream job. Miracles could be as big as you winning the lottery. Miracles could be as big as you finding the perfect person for you, the love of your life. Miracles could be as big as you getting your family and life back. That's why gratitude is the key. So if you've made it through this video, I know these videos are getting longer and longer. However, I hope you're finding the knowledge and information in these. I used to keep them short because I understood people's attention spans were not that unfortunately, through TikTok and all this other stuff, people's attention spans dropped. However, I'm not going to do that with my videos. My videos are here. You can come back and watch them. If you need to watch them in pieces and segments, you can. And unfortunately, a lot and the majority of my good stuff ends up being at the end of things because it's just when it comes. So I want to say that I'm not knocking anyone. I'm just trying to get people to think for themselves and get a mind of their own. I am not judging anyone, because you guys got to understand, whatever you're going through, whatever you believe, the likelihood of me myself thinking it, believing it, and going through it is pretty high. So I want to leave you with this. The day, and I've already gave my opinions on spirituality and religion. I'll tell you this right here again. I think if taken, depending upon if you have a mind of your own or not, and you can decipher what is what within it, I think that when true science and true religion, which basically religion and spirituality can be the same thing if done properly. So I'm not against spirituality, I'm not against religion, and I'm not against science. I am against the watered down version getting pushed to the masses that everyone believes and parrots and just goes along with. You will not come to this channel and see me just going along with things for the sake of going along with them. I'm my own individual. I have a mind of my own. I have had my own experiences that have shaped me into the person I am, and I believe I have a lot of valuable information I can give to you. I believe I can help motivate you. I believe I can help point you in the right direction. And I believe that I can use my wisdom in my life as a pointer for you, what to do and what not to do, what is important, what is not important. I believe I have reached a level of psychology that could greatly help anyone. I believe I have understood the shadow to a great degree. I believe I have understood the nature of God to a great degree. I do, but let me clarify this. In the overall scope of it, I'm a child. I know nothing. Understand that. I can tell you this on this level through this experiences. But when it comes on who you really are, where you really are, and what's really going on, I am a child. And it would benefit you greatly to reach that same level of childlike wonder and get excited about life. So, I believe once science, true science, religion, and spirituality can come together and unite, we will make more progress. We will have more understanding and wisdom. We will have more knowing of how to handle things, especially different types of individuals, minds, and how to proceed forward to make this place better for everyone involved than we have ever. I believe that could happen within 5 to 10 years if everyone was able to drop their ego. And again, I'm not knocking the ego. You need your ego. It's important. But if everyone could drop their arrogance and their overinflation of an ego or need to be right, and just let's all come together and unite and move forward from there, I think we would have progression that you hear stories about. I think we could usher in heaven on earth. I think we can make things happen that you would consider a fairy tale now. Listen, there's only a few things I'm after here in this world, in this reality. I'm after getting myself to the point and this is not in any order, getting myself to the point that I know I can achieve, and being the person I know I truly am. I'm after getting my life and family back. And I'm after heaven on earth. And how I achieve that is by waking you up, by getting you to think for yourself, by getting you to get a mind of your own. And again, getting a mind of your own does not mean blindly believing me and going along with this. It means try to do some science about some things I've told you, see what conclusions you come to, me and you come together and communicate and see what we can do going forward. But it has to be on a grand scale, which I believe is happening. I've done this with a lot of people. I've changed people's perspectives. I've opened their minds. I've opened their hearts. And I'm very happy I could do that for others. And it just signifies to me that, hey, that's what I'm put here to do. That is my purpose. That's what I'm going to keep doing. No, again, I don't want everyone to, we all don't need to agree on everything. However, there's been some issues recently to where, listen, if I've ever helped you or we've communicated and you have something to say to me, say it. I'm not going to get butthurt. I'll be the first one to admit I used to put out messages that I shouldn't have put out that influence people in a negative way. I'll be the first to admit that I went against a lot of what I talk about now. However, you bottling that up and holding that in and then projecting certain things upon me is not doing me or you any favors. And you need to question what that is that's like, dude, it's your ego. Or my friend, brother, sister. I can gladly admit when I'm wrong. I can know when it's my ego talking and when it's me talking. That's the beautiful thing about going into your mind this deep and far, is you understand the mechanics of everything. Again, I don't know everything, but I understand them on a fundamental level enough to where I can communicate this to you as simple as possible. But at the end of the day, you have to have these realizations and understandings. So I want to leave it at that, guys. Seriously, again, I am blown away by just the amount of new subscribers and support I've been getting. I mean, it really warms my heart, and I hope I could help you in any way possible. And I hope I am helping you, and I hope I can continue to help you. So if you've not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. I got a lot more coming. And again, I told y'all a few months ago, man, I was at this. I'm going all in with it. So please stick around. I'd appreciate it. I love you. And I hope I've got you to see the difference in science and watered down mass pushing science. That is nothing more than theories, and these theories believe it. I mean, the masses believe these theories without doing the research or thinking them through. I love you. I'll probably be back on here very soon because I have some other things I'd like to speak about.